Hey, what's up? It's your boy Stephen McCoy, and you are listening to Sessions with Stephen. And we are at episode 5. Finally, we have a handful of episodes. This show is a very special show. It's about a mother's love. Now, I feel like that's so appropriate considering it is Mother's Day. And I have to dedicate this to my mother. My mother has always been my biggest inspiration. You have your inspirational figures who inspires you in your career field or anything, but overall, my mother is that person for me. Now, even going back when I was younger, I always saw her, I always saw strength. I always saw love. I always saw courage. I always saw, did I mention strength? I always saw drive. Now, I always wondered when my mother and I we used to travel a lot, like she would be taking care of her business. I would see her go from one bus to the next, and I'm just like, wow, we'll be, doing a bunch of stuff at in all in one day. And I would see her with paperwork, just getting things together. And I used to say in my mind, one day I want to really help my mother because I would just see her always working hard. I'm happy that I was able to see that growing up because it gave me the proclivity for a greater work ethic. I remember during one of the hardest times of our life when my grandmother passed away, her mother. And then 3 days later, our uncle passed away, my grandmother's brother. And then we found out that my aunt was diagnosed with cancer. So it was a very, very hard time for us. But I saw my mother working two jobs and she was going to school for a time. Now, my mother, she never finished college because she had me when she was 18 years old. When I was a senior in high school, she decided this would be the perfect time to go back to school. Obviously, there was so many obstacles that she had to overcome while trying to pursue her dreams. And it was just crazy to watch because I do remember during that time we didn't get to see her as much because she was a single parent paying paying the bills, everything, and working two jobs and going to school for a time, and it was just my brother and I. And I was just, I mean, her work ethic was really wow, because a lot of people, they would use their life experiences as an excuse as to why they couldn't do something. And my mother used her life experiences as an outlet to get what she wanted. And I felt that was just a powerful statement in itself, a powerful movement, not to slow down just because life has happened. And just because other people's lives have ended, that doesn't mean that yours can't begin. You have to use your life experiences as motivation to continue the journey. You can't just, I mean, it's okay sometimes to pull over and park your car and think, but don't leave it there too long because it'll break down. It won't work anymore. It won't start up anymore. So it's okay to sit for a little bit, but keep going because overall you're trying to get to your destination. You still have dreams and aspirations that you want. There's still a calling, and that's one thing that I learned while watching my mother. Now, for me, I was always bullied and mistreated growing up. And one person that has always loved me unconditionally and was my mother. And she always saw like so much in me and the things that I didn't even see in myself. And I'm like, what? Like, why would you think that? Why would you think that I could build my own company or anything. What are you talking about? And it's because, sometimes moms do see more in their children, but she really did see what I didn't see. I appreciate her for that. I remember this one time my mother and I had a conversation, and spoke to her about my sexuality. I was very unsure of who I wanted to be with. My mother told me no matter who I end up with, she still love me unconditionally, and she's still very proud of me because I went to school never on drugs. I wasn't caught up in that life. And I really knew that I could always speak to my mother about it, but because everyone in society says that is wrong, I didn't want that. I wanted to be right for my mother, and I felt that I owed her that. No one wants to disappoint someone who has sacrificed their whole life for you. You never want to disappoint, but I definitely appreciate her for everything that she had done. And it just wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy life, but I grew up very spoiled. It was crazy because I was a kid that I never really had to want for anything. Whatever I wanted, I pretty much got. But I was also a child that you didn't have to buy me the world for me to be happy. I was a very, and most of all, I just had love at home. When you have enough love at home, the simplest things can make you happy. And that's what I appreciate, that we had love in the house. And it's crazy because growing up, I learned very late that I didn't know that women was looked at as beneath a man. I never knew that because I always saw all the women in my life, my aunts, my grandmother, I always saw them being very strong and independent and doing their own thing. So I never saw any weakness or anything. So when I found out that, wow, so men look at women as lower than them, and women didn't get paid at the same as men, it was crazy to me because, again, I've never seen women be as timid as society look at them. I never saw anything like that. So I also appreciate that. My mother, she never put a man before my brother and I. She's always, remained very strong. If the man was a problem, then she would leave him. And if she was weak at some point, we didn't know about it. And I feel like that's what a strong mother is. She may not show you all of her vulnerability when it comes to her own personal relationship, but ultimately she conquered. I just am very inspired by her. She's a teacher, and she's always inspired little girls. She's always inspired women. My mother also had her daycare company, and so many different things. And it's just, I like that my mother can handle her business, but also she can be a person that have a lot of fun. And that's pretty much who I am. I'm a person, oh, trust me, I have my fun, but I'm also a person that's very focused, and I love people, and I like to have a positive mind because that's where I want to go. I don't want to be a part of anything negative, and I truly believe that if you continue to strive for better, and you feed your mind with positivity, then that's what the universe is going to give you back. So that's something that I learned from my mother. And if you're listening, Mom, which I'm sure you are, I just want to say thank you so much for inspiring me and loving me unconditionally. And despite anything that I've ever done, you just always still love me. And it's just like, wow, I really have somebody that love me unconditionally, which is crazy because they say, that's what your parent is supposed to do. But I mean, you actually showed me that you love me unconditionally, and I just want to say thank you so much for that. And you are somebody who I really admire, and I'm so happy that you are my mother. I love you, and thank you all of you women that's out there. Happy Mother's Day to you all, and thank you for creating us and making the world a better place because we need women in the world, and you are all special. That's one thing that I learned while growing up is just seeing so much that you all go through on a daily basis, and that's what make me appreciate and respect you women all. And I just thank you so much. And I hope to have you guys keep coming back and listening. If you have any questions, you can email me at askstephenmccoy@gmail.com. You can add me on Instagram, that's Stephen McCoy, Facebook, official Stephen McCoy, and you can even tweet me on Twitter, which is Stephen McCoy B. Thank you guys so much. Hey, subscribe now.